Our brains are incredible. They love efficiency, and that's where habits come in. Every time we do something repeatedly, our brains create a pathway. Think of it like a shortcut your brain makes to save energy. The more you use that shortcut, the more ingrained it becomes. That's how brushing your teeth or driving to work becomes second nature. These actions are no longer conscious decisions, but automatic responses. While habits can be incredibly helpful, freeing up our minds for more complex tasks, they can also trap us. How many times have you driven home only to realize you barely remember the journey? That's your habit brain taking over. The same applies to negative habits, like reaching for a sugary snack when you're stressed or procrastinating on a challenging project. These negative patterns stem from the same brain processes as helpful habits. Our brains don't judge, they simply create shortcuts based on our repeated actions. The good news is we have the power to change those shortcuts, to rewire those pathways in our brains, but it takes awareness, commitment, and the right tools. Imagine yourself waking up every morning, your mind instantly flooded with yesterday's worries. Those worries are like well-worn paths in your brain, each connected to specific people, places, and times. As you replay these thoughts, you re-experience the emotions attached to them. Stress, anxiety, frustration. These feelings become your starting point for the day.
And what happens when we feel stressed or anxious? We seek comfort. We reach for our phones, scroll through social media, or turn on the news, only to be bombarded with more negativity. This constant influx of information reinforces those negative feelings, making it even harder to break free. We become trapped in a cycle of thought and emotion, a loop that keeps us stuck in the past.
This cycle extends beyond our thoughts and feelings. It dictates our actions as well. We wake up on the same side of the bed, follow the same routine, drive the same route to work, interact with the same people who trigger the same emotional responses. Our lives become a series of predictable events dictated by the invisible chains of our habits. The first step towards breaking free is awareness. We must recognize that we are not our thoughts. We have the power to choose which thoughts we entertain and which ones we let go of. We can choose to focus on the present moment rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
This is where mindfulness comes in. By practicing mindfulness, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment, recognizing them as fleeting states rather than permanent fixtures. We create space between ourselves and our thoughts, allowing us to make conscious choices rather than reacting automatically.
Breaking free from the habit loop requires more than just awareness, however. It requires action. We must actively choose new thoughts, new behaviors, and new experiences that align with the life we want to create. This will feel uncomfortable at first, like walking an unfamiliar path. But with each step, the new path becomes clearer, the new habits become stronger, and the old patterns begin to fade.
Remember, you have the power to change your brain, to break free from the limitations of your past and create a future filled with possibility. It starts with a single, conscious choice. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to predict your day, even down to the smallest details? You wake up, go through the same morning rituals, commute to work along a familiar route, engage in similar conversations, and return home to repeat the cycle. While this predictability can be comforting, it can also turn into a prison, trapping us in a life dictated by our past. This sense of being stuck stems from the fact that our daily routines are often built upon past behaviors and memories. Each action triggers a network of associations in our brains, creating a chain reaction of thoughts, feelings, and responses that keep us tethered to familiar patterns. We become creatures of habit, our lives unfolding like a pre-recorded script. The problem with this predictability is that it limits our potential for growth and transformation. When we operate on autopilot, we cease to truly experience the present moment. We miss out on opportunities for new connections, novel experiences, and personal breakthroughs simply because they fall outside the confines of our well-trodden paths. Breaking free from this prison requires a conscious effort to disrupt our routines and introduce novelty into our lives. It means challenging ourselves to step outside our comfort zones, try new things, and create new experiences that can reshape our neural pathways and expand our sense of what's possible. Our emotions play a powerful role in shaping our reality. They are the echoes of our past experiences, the lingering residue of moments that have left their mark on our psyches.
While some emotions, like joy and love, can uplift and inspire us, others, like fear and anger, can keep us tethered to negative thought patterns and behaviors.
When we experience something significant, whether positive or negative, our brains create a neural pathway associated with that event. This pathway includes not only the sensory details of the experience, but also the emotional charge that accompanied it.
So when we recall that event, either consciously or unconsciously, we re-experience the associated emotion, even if the original trigger is no longer present.
This explains why certain people, places, or situations can evoke such strong emotional responses in us. They act as triggers, activating those old neural pathways and flooding our systems with the familiar cocktail of hormones and neurochemicals associated with that past experience.
We react not to the present moment, but to the ghost of experiences past.
To break free from this emotional baggage, we need to become aware of these patterns and develop strategies for interrupting the automatic responses they trigger. This might involve mindfulness techniques, emotional regulation exercises, or simply consciously choosing to focus on more positive and empowering thoughts and feelings. While we often think of our minds and bodies as separate entities, the reality is they are inextricably intertwined. Our thoughts and emotions don't just exist in our heads, they manifest physically in our bodies, influencing our posture, our breathing, our muscle tension, and even our overall health.
This mind-body connection is a two-way street, meaning our physical states can also influence our thoughts and feelings.
When we experience chronic stress, anxiety, or fear, our bodies go into survival mode. Our sympathetic nervous systems kick in, releasing hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, preparing us to fight, flee, or freeze.
This response is helpful in short bursts when we face genuine threats, but when it becomes our default state, it wreaks havoc on our physical and mental well-being.
The body, in a sense, becomes the storehouse of our unprocessed emotions. When we don't allow ourselves to feel and process difficult emotions, they become trapped in our tissues, manifesting as chronic pain, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, and a host of other physical ailments.
To break free from this cycle, we need to learn to listen to our bodies and address the underlying emotional patterns that are driving our physical symptoms.
This might involve a combination of approaches, including mindfulness, somatic therapies, movement practices, and lifestyle changes that support our overall well-being. Imagine this: you're walking down a dark street at night, and suddenly a loud noise makes you jump. Your heart races, your breath quickens, and your body floods with adrenaline. This is your survival mechanism kicking in, preparing you for a potential threat.
This intense emotional reaction leaves a lasting imprint on your brain.
Think of it as an emotional snapshot. Your brain, like a high-speed camera, captures every detail: the sights, sounds, smells, and the raw feeling of fear.
This snapshot becomes a long-term memory, stored for future reference.
Have you ever noticed how easy it is to get stuck in a negative emotional state? You have a bad day at work, and suddenly everything seems bleak.
This is related to the refractory period in emotional processing. It's the time it takes to return to a neutral state after a strong emotion. During this period, we react with the same intensity as the initial trigger. It's like our emotional volume knob gets stuck on high.
The length of the refractory period varies from person to person. For some, it might last minutes, for others, days or longer.
Emotions color our perceptions, shape decisions, and influence interactions. While often fleeting, emotions can become ingrained patterns. Think about how you describe your emotional state. You might say, "I'm in a good mood," or "I'm feeling stressed." A mood is a prolonged emotional state lasting hours or days. It's a temporary filter influencing thoughts and behaviors. Recurring moods can solidify into our temperament. We label ourselves as anxious, optimistic, or short-tempered. Remember those neural pathways we talked about, the ones that become stronger with repetition? Over time, these pathways can become so deeply ingrained that they take on a life of their own. The servant, our habitual responses, slowly becomes the master, dictating our thoughts, feelings, and actions.
This is how we end up feeling stuck in negative patterns, even when we consciously desire to change. We may know that constantly checking our phones is unhealthy, yet we find ourselves repeating these behaviors.
Our analytical mind sets goals, but the true driving force behind our behaviors lies in our subconscious mind. To truly change, we need to access the subconscious, where deeply ingrained patterns reside. The body's wisdom. The subconscious is intricately connected to our physical bodies.
Our bodies are the unconscious mind in action. Every thought, feeling, and belief is reflected in our physiology.
When stressed, muscles tense, breathing becomes shallow, heart races. When relaxed, muscles soften, breathing deepens, heart rate slows.
Physical sensations are integral to how our bodies process and store experiences.
To change subconscious programming, we must address both body and mind.
Listen to our bodies, become aware of physical sensations, and develop practices to regulate our nervous systems.
Paying attention to our bodies taps into wisdom and healing, helping us release trapped emotions and create harmony. The unknown represents uncertainty, triggering our survival mechanisms. However, the unknown is a space of infinite possibility where we can create a new reality. Embrace the unknown with curiosity and adventure to unlock infinite possibilities. Meditation creates a space between yourself and your thoughts. It shifts us from doing to being, opening us to the wisdom of the subconscious. Through meditation, we can rewire old patterns and create a life aligned with our deepest values. The key is to approach the body with compassion and understanding. As the body surrenders to stillness, the mind follows suit, entering a state of deep inner peace. This state of stillness is heightened awareness, connecting us with our deepest selves. Meditation allows us to tap into our wave nature, opening up infinite possibilities. This shift from particle to wave has tangible effects on our energy and reality-creating abilities. We become creators of our reality, aligning with our highest visions. The urge to return to the familiar is a natural part of the change process. Recognize resistance as temporary discomfort, not a sign of failure. Meet feelings with compassion and curiosity to navigate the discomfort and stay the course. Quantum reality tells us we are active participants in creating our reality. When we change our internal state, we change the experiences we attract. Embrace the unknown as a field of infinite possibility. Embodiment bridges the gap between our thoughts and experiences. Our bodies are integral to our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Practice embodiment through breath, movement, and presence. We possess the power to reshape our pathways and break free from limiting beliefs. Confronting resistance strengthens our change muscles and cultivates resilience. You're the conscious architect of your reality. Meditation offers a sanctuary for the mind, cultivating stillness and inner peace. It allows us to step out of habitual patterns and make empowering choices. The benefits of meditation ripple into all areas of our lives. The journey of transformation is an ongoing process of growth and discovery. Approach each moment with curiosity, compassion, and a willingness to learn. Within each of us lies the power to shape the future, one conscious choice at a time.